Okay, students, welcome in. This is a different discussion board than we've had every other week. But instead of trying to find a video for talking about what I wanted to talk about, I figure I'd just make the video. So I would become the video for you. So I'm going to present this. I'm going to talk about your discussion board question, and you'll be able to start off your week properly. So we go ahead and present this. So last week we introduced minerals, and we started talking about the rock cycles. Now what we're going to do before we sort of wrap up the rock cycle and dive back into it a little bit, which will be next week, we want to focus on the individual rock classes. So we're going to start with igneous rocks. And so here we go. So with igneous, you have to think ignite, think fire. And so these are all rocks that are born out of fire or heat. So magma, lava, those are igneous rocks, heat, ignite. And so we have two different types, essentially. So plutonic rocks. So plutonic rocks form underground, and they're also called intrusive. And the reason I want you to be listening to this part because it's what your discussion board question is based on. So plutonic rocks form underground, and they are called intrusive. So within the earth, they're called intrusive. And the examples that we have that are very common, you have granite, which is a common like countertop, or yard rock. Another sort of version of a granitic rock is a diorite. And then we also have plutonic rocks that have more iron-rich minerals, more manganese-rich minerals like gabbro. And then you have like a mix of in between, which is andesite. It's almost like a mix of a couple different ones. But anyways, so since they cool underground, they almost get to stay insulated for a long time. And like we talked about last week, if you have a long time to crystallize, you get large, coarse mineral grains there. So these rocks, since they form underground, they have a long time to crystallize. So they have big old grains, which we'll see in our lecture. The other type is the volcanic rocks. So these rocks cool on the surface of the earth, and we also call them extrusive igneous rocks because they've been extruded. They are not intrusive in the earth. These are extrusive. They've cooled on the surface. Some common examples of volcanic rocks. I see a mistake here, so don't take the other one to be what it is. But anyway, so basalt is a volcanic rock. It's one of the most common. Diorite is not. I meant to put in rhyolite. But anyway, so forget about diorite. And then there's also obsidian. If you're familiar with obsidian, you know that it's almost like what they would use like to make arrowheads. And so it's like a volcanic glass, and it just cools so rapidly that the individual mineral grains can't even form. That's why it's a volcanic glass. But anyway, so to summarize those ones, they crystallize very quickly because they're going from somewhere very hot to somewhere very cold. And so if you had a cup of hot water and you threw it outside when it was minus 20, it's going to cool down super quick, and that's how they crystallize. Now, with that being said, your task is going to be something that's going to sound almost completely unrelated to science, but it's a cool thing to connect knowledge. You are going to Google the Roman gods Pluto and Vulcan. So these are two Roman gods. Pluto, played a significant role in some of these stories, which is really cool. Vulcan, not always so much, but worth reading about. So Google those two, and you can use, Wikipedia as a source. That's a fine source for something like this. But using your own words, why do we call intrusive rocks plutonic? And why do we call extrusive rocks volcanic? That's your discussion board task. So you'll answer down below. You'll say, we call intrusive rocks plutonic because, and you're going to say something that will reference the god Pluto. And then you'll say, we call extrusive rocks volcanic because, and your answer will include the god Vulcan. So that's it. That's your discussion board. I can't wait to see you on Thursday. I hope you're having an excellent week. Adios.